Okay guys, so this is Dank Moss. No worries if you don't know who she is, because you'll find out quick enough. Dank Moss is a rapper from Detroit, Michigan, who is currently suing LYFT. You heard that right, she's suing LYFT. And why, you might ask yourself? Well, she actually was calling a LYFT to get to a party that she was trying to get to, and when the LYFT arrived and saw her size, he told her that she simply just could not fit, and we're gonna see this very shortly. And Dank posted this to her socials. She didn't take it well, it went viral right away, and now she's suing LYFT, and the driver is losing his job. We're gonna get into all of this. We're gonna get into people's opinions of whether this is fair or not, the implications of this all, as always, and we're also gonna see quite a handful of memes. Before we get there, I'd love to ask you to support my channel. As you can see, it's growing, so subscribe, give me your likes, and give me your comments. Let's get into it. Okay, so this is the video that she originally posted to her Instagram stories, and that has now gone viral for a good reason. Let's check it out.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What? For what? What you saying?
Yeah, I got no space in my car is small.
I can fit in this car.
But believe me, you can.
Yes, I can.
Believe me. So, I'm sorry.
What I'm gonna do about my money?
I'm gonna cancel you. You're not gonna be charged.
So you telling me I can't get in the lift because I can't fit in your car?
Yeah, you need to order a bigger car.
What makes you think I can't fit in the car?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What makes you think I can't fit in this car?
Because the car is small in the back.
My best friend has a Benz that's newer than this that I can fit in. That's the same size.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't.
So you really telling me I'm too big to get in your car, so I gotta order another lift?
Yeah. And to be more specific with you, I got very tired tires.
What I got to do with your tires?
Yeah, and you have no space.
How you know I don't have no space?
Yeah, I got no space in the back. Believe me.
How do you know I don't have no space?
Because I've tried before.
Huh?
Because I've been in this situation.
So every big person you turn down because they can't fit in your car?
Yeah, because they need to order the Uber XL it's called.
No, I don't never have to order an Uber XL.
You know, I'm really sorry.
What's your name?
Abraham Travis.
Okay. Nope.
So as you can see, she's just ordering her lift. Her lift arrives, takes a good look at her, and he's like, lady, my car just does not fit you. I would love to include you in my ride. I want to make money as well, but it just does not fit you. And she takes it super personally, even though he's emphasizing that he's actually had people in the past who were her size and he just couldn't take them in either because he has quite a small car. And the whole time she's super annoying, super confrontational, and she's just not taking no for an answer. She keeps insisting that in fact she can fit in the car, even though we can see her and we can see the car, and the guy is like, no, you can't fit in my car, and in fact my tires don't even work well. So I think you get the hint. I don't know about you guys, but I find her desperately annoying, and we're gonna see she's more than annoying. In fact, she's actually not the nicest person. We're gonna see that in brief. And we're not talking about a lady who's perhaps slightly overweight and the guy's like, you know, I don't want to fit you in because he has something against her and he's legitimately like discriminating her. It's not the case. Like, it's a morbidly obese person who just simply does not fit in his car, and on top of that, he has problems with his tires. And she keeps bringing up her friend. She's like, oh, my friend, I can fit into my friend's car. And it's like, why didn't you call your friend there? Why are you forcing this random poor guy who's just doing his job to take you into his car if you have a friend whose magically small car you can fit into? Which, by the way, we all know it's BS. There's no way she fits into a car that size. People online, understandably so, are really not having this Dank Moss situation, which is gonna get worse. Just stay tuned. And they're saying things such as, look at this. Dank Moss is in the back of an XL Suburban and she's about to tear the door of that motherfucker. How the hell was she gonna get in a freaking sedan? LOL. I don't blame that dude. I don't blame it either. He has a small car. She's very big. She's chosen to be big. More on that in a second, because I know you're gonna be like, oh no, like she literally has chosen to be that size, but there's absolutely no way she would fit into a small car. Like, what does she expect? To break down the car of this poor man who's just doing his job? Is she gonna pay for it when she ruptures it? Is LYFT gonna pay for it? I don't think so. It's gonna be him and his broken car. Okay, we've got more. LYFT driver refused this woman a ride because his vehicle was too small for her oversized body. Now she is suing. This is what happens when the media normalizes obesity. She should have gone to the gym, not the lawyer's office. And I'm gonna try to be as nice as possible today, but people online are not doing that. We can see this guy is like how Lyft will have to employ cattle trailers. We'll have more memes to look at in a second. So let's talk about the media normalizing obesity. I myself have lived in the US for a long time, but I've also lived in Europe for a long time, and it is very, very true. And I think people in the US know this, like it's not even a secret that the US media, the US people, I don't know what it is, but obesity there is super normalized. And just a quick little Google search will get you to these results. It says that nearly 1 in 3 adults in America are overweight, and more than 2 in 5 adults have obesity. And about 1 in 11 adults have severe obesity, and then it talks about the kids. So yeah, it's well known that obesity is a problem in the US. We have here even a better stat that says overall more than 2/3 of US adults in the US are overweight or have obesity. More than 2/3. I'm not even saying this to sit here and be like, oh, America sucks and Europe is so much better, because there are great things about both places for sure. But one thing that always shocks me when I'm in the US is how fat people are and how no one seems to care how normal it is. And it's not even possible to talk about it nowadays without people getting offended. And it shouldn't even be something offensive. Like, you're literally ruining your health just by choosing to remain in the state. And yeah, I know it's difficult. I know once people get to a certain state of being super obese, it's really hard to change things, which is why it's so important to not normalize it in the first place. And when people are starting to gain weight, instead of normalizing it or applauding it like some celebrities are doing, taking a step back and making sure they know that they're risking their health. And guys, I myself have been at numerous different kinds of weights. I've been like high muscle, low body fat, high muscle, high fat, low body fat, low muscle, and just pure fat. Like, I've been at a time where I was pretty much overweight. Like, I wasn't overweight, but I was like pretty much in the border, and I felt overweight because I had never been at that size before, and it was extremely uncomfortable. I was in pain, my knees hurt, my feet hurt. Like, I just didn't feel like myself. Not even talking about the aesthetics part, like just physically and mentally, I just did not feel well. And what it took for me to even get to that state to begin with was that I was eating so much junk food. For the first time in my life, I've always been someone that cared about my health, and I was just eating a bunch of junk food. I had just moved to Paris. I was eating croissants pretty much every single day, not cooking, not working out for the first time ever. And yeah, the pounds stacked on. And guess what? The only way I lost all that weight was actually by exercising and eating healthier and eating less. So yes, of course, it's more difficult for people once they get into like later years. It's more difficult for people that may have some thyroid issues, hormonal issues, or that are just downright obese. And of course, it's gonna take them a longer time and more effort than someone that was just kind of getting to an overweight point. But all I'm saying with this is that it is possible. And I don't know what it is with the US. They just really can't get this under control. And we keep seeing this trends as well with Ozempic, that even those that maybe do wanna lose the weight and get fitter, instead of doing it by conventional means and also healthier means, they're doing it by just taking so much Ozempic, and most of them don't even need it. They don't even have blood sugar problems, or if they do, it's not even to the point that they would actually need to take a drug. Like, they could reverse that through other ways, and they're just ruining their health. So it's just a very typical thing in the US, not only for obesity to be so rampant, but also to turn it around the fastest, quickest way possible, which often results very negatively. And I don't know about you guys, I know it's controversial, but my opinion is that people who are overweight are choosing to do so. Let me explain myself. I'm not saying that they wake up randomly one day, they're like, oh, I'm gonna choose to be fat and I'm gonna choose to be this way and to ruin my health. I mean, surely some people do make that choice. I don't really think most do, though. That's the point here. I think most people get to that point because they develop very unhealthy habits, or maybe they just never had healthy habits to begin with, and then it becomes very difficult to change them. But it is my belief that where you're not changing, you're choosing. So if you're not changing your overweight status or your morbidly obese status, you're actively choosing to have a reduced quality of life and all sorts of health troubles that come with that. So in my opinion, this woman, Dan Dumas, and all the ones that we're gonna see, and most people are just actively choosing to be in that state, because by the time that she was seeing that she was getting fatter, she could have chosen to find a way. I mean, we have the internet nowadays, and now we have even artificial intelligence that will create like a nutritionist plan for you for free. So she could have definitely done something, and she actively made the choice, whether it was in a more subconscious way or not, to stay at that size and to not change things. And now the rest of us have to pay for her actions, and we're gonna see that in brief. So this whole situation has, believe it or not, made it to Fox News. Let's see what they say.
Blanding tells us she was just trying to get to a Detroit Lions watch party this month when her Lyft rolled up.
As I'm walking, I see him like making faces or whatever. I'm like, oh man.
She already knew.
I can fit in this car.
No, believe me, you can.
Yes, I can.
Believe me.
He told her there's not enough room in his car.
The kicker part was when he started to talk about his tires. You know, I feel like that was a slap in the face. That was like my tires, you know, like.
The driver said his tires could not handle her weight.
Every big person you turn down because they can't fit in your car?
Yeah, because they need to order the.
What is he supposed to do? They don't fit. They literally do not fit. Like, what is he gonna do? What would she do? Risk breaking down his car over somebody?
Uber XL.
You know what? I don't never have to order Uber XL.
He apologized, canceled the ride, and left her there. The rapper says she's pretty tough.
I get the money and flip it and make time food.
Dank DeMoss, as she's known at the mic, is crushed by the whole situation.
I just want them to know, like, it really hurt my feelings.
It looks like LYFT might be hurting pretty soon, too.
I knew it was illegal and I knew that it was wrong.
Her attorneys, John Marco and Zach Runyon, say weight is a protected characteristic in Michigan by law.
It would be no different than a driver pulling up and saying, you know, I don't want to have black people in my car, or I don't want to have Christians in my car or Muslims in my car. It's the same. Under the law, it's the same.
The lawsuit is filed. Since she posted the encounter on social media, other full-figured folks have reached out saying the same thing happened to them.
By the way, before we even talk about whatever went on in that news station thing, LYFT has actually commented on Moses' post saying the following thing. We're disheartened to look at this driver's unacceptable behavior. Please DM us at your earliest convenience for additional support. We'd like to address this as soon as possible. So of course it is the driver who has unacceptable behavior, not the lady, the driver. We'll talk about LYFT's reply in a moment, but let's go back one step at a time. Let's go back to the Fox News thing. First of all, I find it super interesting that the reporter is referring to her and other people like her as full-figured people, because this actually implies that they are naturally full-figured people. You know, like this is something maybe you'd say to a woman who's very naturally curvy, or maybe men who are just stockier. I don't know. I don't really think it's something you'd use with a guy, but yeah, I can see like you seeing, I don't know, like Sofia Vergara or someone like that, and being Salma Hayek, I don't know, and being like, oh, they're full figure ladies. Like they're naturally curvier maybe than a thinner woman, a naturally thinner woman. I just don't see though how you would use this to describe a person who has actively chosen, and I already explained why I believe she's actively chosen, because she hasn't actively chosen to change it, so by default she's chosen to be fat. I don't see how you would refer to her as a full-figured person, because that's not what she is, and by doing that we're just normalizing obesity even more. I'm not saying we should fat shame her, I'm not saying we should insult her or make fun of her or any of that, but we should refer to her as what she is, which is somebody who is morbidly obese or who's overweight, not a full figure, because that sounds very much, do you guys remember that trend a few years ago, maybe like a decade ago? I feel like I'm getting old, when girls started being like, oh, I'm not fat, I'm curvy, and then the word curvy lost its meaning completely. Like curvy back in the day used to mean like, you know, a woman who has like thinner waist and like big hips, and nowadays it actually means fat, at least in the US. Well, that's the same thing they're doing here. They don't want to call her overweight as if it were an insult. It's not even, like, it's just a description of her current state, so they instead call her full-figured. Next, let's talk about the lawyer. Okay, you and I both know, you can just see it in his face that he does not believe any of this, that he's just doing it because it's what he has to do, it's his job, and he knows he can have really good repercussions out of it. And he's even taking pictures with her like super smiley, because he knows what's coming. He knows there's a big paycheck coming. And I'm not an expert in Michigan law by any means. I do find it very interesting that he says that being overweight is a protected characteristic by Michigan law. I don't know how that makes any sense, and he puts it in the same place and standards as being Christian or black or white or Muslim, but those aren't really things you choose. I mean, your religion, yeah, you could choose to an extent, but it's something way deeper, like somebody's spiritual status. It's something a lot deeper than somebody's overweight status. Besides the fact that someone being Christian or Muslim or Jewish would not really affect the driver's car by any means. Like if I'm, you know, Jewish or something and I request an Uber and he's like, oh, well, you know, I don't take in Jews, he's just doing it clearly out of discrimination, not because I'm going to break down his car by being a Jew. It's not the same with an overweight person. And of course, let's not even talk about the race, because you clearly don't choose being born as black or Asian or white or any ethnicity or other race. But again, if he claims those are Michigan laws, I don't know who wrote them. I think they're completely absurd, but we'll have to believe them because he is the expert at the end of the day. And if they are the laws, then she is in for a big payday as well. And I think that's why he keeps smiling so much. Now let's talk about the most crucial part here, which to me is when Dankti Moss says that this all really hurt her feelings. I'm not going to question whether or not her feelings got hurt because maybe she's telling, I would assume that it probably did kind of hurt her feelings a little bit. Like, of course, nobody wants to be told that you're too big to fit into a car, but that's beyond the point. Her feelings being hurt should never be prioritized over logic, over reason, over the truth. The truth in this case being, one, that she can't fit into the car. Two, that she's a morbidly obese person. And I mean, there's not even one or two, it's just the same. She's morbidly obese, she's gonna break down the car. The guy had already told her he has problems with his tires. And while, yeah, I could see myself maybe feeling bad for her, though that's even like more controversial because it's kind of, again, she chose to be fat. Like, nobody made her that way. No, she was not born obese. It still doesn't change reality. Let's take a look at what more people are saying online. People like Dankti Moss are what's wrong with society. Hey LYFT, don't buckle to this lawsuit. These ambulance chasers should be ashamed of themselves. What's going on as well is that Dankti Moss is what would be considered like a triple minority in the US, even though it's none of these are like really minorities in the US, but for some reason they're considered that way. Like, she's obese, she's a woman, and she's black. So many companies, LYFT being one of them, not that they care about any of this. In fact, I'm sure they know it's completely unreasonable, but they're so worried about being labeled as misogynistic or racist or fatphobic that they're gonna pay this woman the amount necessary to shut her up, and they're gonna fire anybody who they need to fire in order to save their own pants. Many people, as we can see, are very mad with LYFT, myself included. If they do go through with this injustice, not that I ever used LYFT, to be honest. Like, I always just use Uber, but after this, I'm never going down the LYFT route again. And this guy is like, fuck you, LYFT. Drivers unacceptable behavior, ? I just deleted your app. And I totally agree with this. I don't know what the driver's unacceptable behavior is. He actually had absolutely no choice. I wonder what LYFT thought that he could have done to make this better. And of course, people are going at it with the memes. And it's breaking. Due to the recent events, that LYFT has just announced a new luxury option. Shared, typical $15, LYFT XL 25, Lux, riding style, 3526, forklift, 4772. What this lady says, I agree 100%. She's like, I'm sorry, but the driver did nothing wrong. If driving a 600-pound person damaged his car, neither she nor LYFT would have paid for it. Why the F did he lose his job over this shit? And that's exactly the problem that I have with this. Not only did he have absolutely no choice, but also if this woman would have broken down his car, would have broken down his already faulty tires, who's gonna pay for that? She's not gonna pay for that. She's out here trying to scam LYFT and the driver and whatever she can to get money out of this quite absurd situation. There's no way she would have helped the driver if she would have effed up his car. And there's no way LYFT would have done so either. So of course he was just trying to watch out for his job, for his vehicle, for his work instrument, for probably his family. And the fact that he literally represents this company probably was a good worker for them, and now they're just like, oh wait, we don't want to be called racist, misogynistic, fatphobic, whatever. All of that is so much more important to us than you. They're just getting rid of him like if he was nothing. I'm making this woman a millionaire. Like, are you guys aware how effed up that is? We're out here working every day, and then this woman just wakes up one day. She's been eating Oreos her whole life, hasn't stepped one foot in the gym in her whole life, and she decides that she's going to ruin this poor guy's life because she doesn't fit into his car, which is something she should have taken responsibility for herself to begin with. And now she's gonna become a millionaire. Maybe we're all in the wrong business, I swear. People are out here with the memes, as we can see, they're going wild. In response to a lawsuit, LYFT has updated its fleet to cater to obese black women, and it's like a whole U-Haul or like whatever this even is, wagon. And of course, we know it's not the first time something like this has happened. Many people in the body positivity community or whatever they even call themselves at this point, I've lost count, they keep talking how plane seats are oppressive, how cinema seats are oppressive, how absolutely everything is oppressive to their full-bodied selves. Instead of taking responsibility for themselves, taking action and realizing that we, the world, is not responsible for their own failed actions, they expect us all to change. Even though they're in the minority here, they should be the ones changing to accommodate themselves into a world that's already standardized. They're asking us to be the ones who change for them. And not even small changes. I'm talking about making planes hold double seats just for them, or to gift them free seats. And can you imagine what airline is going to change their seat policy? In each of these seats they fit 2 people, and if they were to change that just to accommodate morbidly obese people, who again are in the minority here, they would be losing half the money. Same with cinema seats, same with absolutely everything. It's insane to me how little responsibility they take for themselves. Same with Dank Dimas over here. I'm not saying she has to be ridiculed, I'm not saying anyone should treat her poorly, and it's not even the case. The driver is quite polite with her, and he was like, lady, this has happened to me before and you guys just don't fit in here. I would love for you to fit in here, I would make my money, but it turns out you just don't physically fit in here. And instead of being like, you know what, he's right, let me just move on and find a car that actually does fit me, instead of trying to, pay as little as possible here, and let me maybe lose weight so I don't have to be in these situations that are clearly uncomfortable and hurting my self-esteem. Instead of doing that, she's like, no, we've got a case here, it's payday. Which is why it's almost impossible to feel any sort of pity for these people. So let's take a look at what this one says.
Isn't the problem, the system is. When you're forced to buy,
we're starting off with my body isn't the problem. The system. You are the problem for being skinny, not me.
Body isn't the problem, the system is. When you're forced to buy 2 seats or squeeze into a space that wasn't designed for your body, it's not just inconvenient, it's dehumanizing. This isn't a luxury, it's a basic human right to travel with dignity.
This plus-sized woman believes it's a basic human right to travel with dignity, and she's standing up for change. With every journey, Jalen challenges the uncomfortable realities that many larger travelers face, from cramped seats to insensitive policies, and she demands a change.
You deserve to be comfortable flying, and you deserve to live your best life just like everybody else. Airline seats are too small for many people, regardless of their size or weight.
Jalen has launched a GoFundMe to advocate for fat equality and offers helpful tips on how plus-size travelers can travel safely and comfortably.
You deserve to be comfortable, you deserve to get there and not affect your health in some crazy way. If anyone is being an asshole to you and staring at you or making you feel uncomfortable, realize that that's more a reflection of who they are and not you.
The audacity that some of these people have is beyond me every time I see this. Also, there's this trend going on of human rights. I keep hearing this all the time. It's a basic human right, and it's like the most absurd line that follows that. It's not a basic human right to travel in a double seat or 2 seats for free for you or any of that. If you do not fit in the seat, well, you get 2 options. 1, you pay for 2 seats, or 2, you lose weight. And sure, I can understand how it could be dehumanizing to not fit into the seats and to have to buy 2 seats and maybe people looking at you or whatever it is. But again, you have the choice to change that, and you have chosen not to, so it just is what it is. It's also very interesting that she's saying that the seats have not been designed for her body. Well, nothing has, because not even nature has designed your body that way. The world is catered to the majority of us, and of course there's so much diversity in this planet that we're never gonna have enough categories and enough inclusion and enough of any of this BS to cater to absolutely everybody, and there's always gonna be people left out. And I'm not saying we shouldn't try to, include people, make them feel better or whatever, but that should not really be our priority. And people should understand that because they are left out sometimes, doesn't mean that it's personal, doesn't mean that it's anything against them necessarily, that it's just the way that we as a world can accommodate things. It's virtually impossible to accommodate for every sort of person, individual, black, race, color, ethnicity, weight. Like, it's completely absurd to think we can do that. Disability. And it really just gets to a point that they have to cater to themselves. They don't fit into the seat, 2 choices. Buy 2 seats, lose weight. Can you imagine if I was here like 8 feet, if I were like the only human in this world who's 8 feet tall, and I was just making these kind of TikToks crying about how I'm a victim because nothing fits me as an 8-foot tall person? Well, maybe you guys will feel bad for me. And again, the height thing I didn't even choose, so it can't even be compared to this. It's still such an exception and such a minority, even though not even in the US anymore so much, regarding the weights at least, that you would think it's completely absurd for the entire world to change to cater to my 8 feet height. And of course, this lady couldn't help to mock us even more. And at the end, did you guys catch that? How she starts talking about how she deserves seats that don't affect her health. The person who has actively chosen to destroy her own health, because that's what morbid obesity does to you, is lecturing us about her health. She wants the rest of the world to prioritize her health when she herself has not done so in her whole life. This is the kind of world that these people want to create and have successfully created in some parts of the world already. Whether it's in woke parts of the US or woke parts of Europe, they have effectively convinced people to renounce to their own perceptions of reality, to reject the truth in order for them to feel better about themselves. They have created a world where they expect people to say that 2 + 2 is 5 or otherwise they're number-phobic. And the worst part are not even these people, because at the end of the day, they're very exceptional. The worst part are those who are so focused and so obsessed and so spineless to be obsessed with social approval that they would much rather give up truth, give up saying that 2 + 2 is 4 in order to be socially accepted. And those are the ones that have gotten us to where we are. So I'll leave you guys with that. I don't know about you guys, but I will never be using LYFT again, not after this. And I hope this serves us to elect leaders that won't have those kind of laws, like in Michigan, protecting these kind of things, which are completely absurd. That's the only way that I can think of making change at the moment, but if you have other solutions, I would love to put them in the comments. Oh, also, and referring to overweight people as what they are, overweight. And again, with that, I'm not saying go shame them, go insult them, none of that. They're humans. We can have basic respect and politeness with other people. That doesn't mean I have to sit here and be like, oh, the full-figured, curvy, womanly person. No, like, she is overweight and that's okay. And in this case, she's becoming a millionaire out of her own laziness. Makes me so mad. I'm gonna leave it here before I explode even more. I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section. Please give me your likes. Please remember to subscribe, and I will see you very soon.